No. I'm pretty sure that's like... I'm pretty sure that's gonna be copyright. Way to go, Rev. You just screwed it all up.
Yeah, that's basically a copyright takedown, Rev. I did tell you about that.
And also, it came in really garbled, so maybe it won't be so bad for the, the YouTube analytics and whatnot. Welcome back, my friends. Welcome to the Krieg Dominion. I am Omar Krieg, your Lord and Commander, and your host. I really screwed up my own intro. I apologize. I am not quite 100%. I am intending to get there pretty quick, but we'll see what happens. I'm Omar Krieg, your Lord and Commander of the Krieg Dominion, and your host for tonight's events. This is episode 12 of Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader Tithes of Acheron, our first segmentum into the Maw. And with me, of course, are my wonderful Grimdark players, Rodance, Alturios, Warner, Darius, and Rev. Let's take a moment to check in with them while I get my brain rewired to actually doing something. Let's start with Rev. I don't know why I'm starting with you, probably just to get the evilness out of the way. Rev,
right.
What's new and exciting for you in the last 2 weeks or so since we were last together?
Well, the biggest thing is the thing I can't talk about on Twitch. Hey,
Yeah, let's not talk about that at all.
but other than that, I suppose I'm doing all right. I have no plans to shave my head or take anybody out of my life, so I'm doing good.
Okay. Sounds good. Let's go to Darius. Darius, what's new and exciting for you in the last couple of weeks since we were last together?
Well, I almost lost my character in another game.
The fact that you said almost
today.
means he may still be alive, or she.
He. I don't do cross gender.
Fair enough.
But yeah, he was rescued. So I still get to play him. He's a Nova Cat warrior, of course.
Yes. We were just talking about the Nova Cats very briefly.
That's been the highlight of my week.
All right. Well, hoping that your Nova Cat character continues to thrive and succeed. Alturios, what's new and exciting for you, my friend?
Not much. Just life.
Just like, yeah, well, it doesn't sound very exciting, but you know what? I'm only saying that because it sounded funny in my head.
We might also have another hurricane coming up, so yay.
Oh man, you know what? I have not been paying any attention to the weather outside of, oh look, it's raining again.
I miss being able to just be like, oh yeah, weather, whatever.
Well, normally I kind of pay attention to the weather because of work, because I'd like to know if it's going to be hot, cold, windy, rainy, as I'm making my deliveries. But
you're in logistics.
Yes, and I'm in the Pacific Northwest, which means this time of year it's basically rain or rain. Those are your two options.
I was gonna say when you said Pacific Northwest, I was gonna say so rain.
Yeah, that's pretty much what your two options are: is rain or rain. You don't really get a reroll either.
It could be sleet or snow.
Well, fortunately for me, I'm not in those parts of the country that get those sorts of things on a regular basis this time of year. So.
The Northwest doesn't get sleet or snow in the late fall?
We get some, but it'll usually take until like at the earliest, typically late November. But it's usually more like mid to late December and then January and February. That's usually when we get hit with anything. But in the particular area that I'm in, we'll get snow and it'll last for like 2 or 3 days. And it'll just get rained away. Or, well, washed away by the rain, I guess would be a better way to phrase it. But, you got anything else, Alturios?
Nah, that's about it.
All right, potential hurricanes and normal life routines.
Mm-hmm.
Which, ironically, hurricanes are part of your normal life routine at about this point.
Don't remind me.
Yeah, I know, right? Rodance? I'm gonna ask how upsetting was it that you were not able to kill my character the other night?
Should congratulate you on the fact that you managed to avoid the most simplest of traps called not going to jail.
I tell you what,
Congratulations.
the other player that rolled the nat 20 at the right time, that was super helpful.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fun
Yeah,
game.
I do have to say I am missing that we are not playing our Alien RPG game, so I do hope you feel better soon.
I almost did, but I was just like, I wasn't feeling great. My son came home from school early yesterday, and between the two things, I was just like, you know what, I'm just not
Yeah,
gonna stream.
I get it. Life things.
Yeah, I wanted to play, but it was just,
But in any case, I've started putting up Christmas decorations.
We talked about that as well.
I now have a rosemary plant trimmed into the shape of a little tree with lights on it.
It's not even Thanksgiving yet.
She who shall not be named is actually thawing out, so you know.
Yeah. I love how we put her right up in the same category. Oh my god. No, stop it.
Look, man. I don't really count Thanksgiving as a major holiday.
I suppose
Especially
that's
since I work
fair.
that, so
Oh, yeah, that'll do it.
I suppose
Okay,
that's fair only if I don't disagree with you, but I do disagree with you.
How about one that's not trademarked?
Just hear those sleigh bells
No,
jingling,
that's
ring,
enough. That's enough. How did he
Hey,
get soundboard options in the Zoom call? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I'm guessing the answer is research.
Yes,
That or he's
yes,
just got a
yes.
speaker next to his microphone.
No.
I'm not going to tell you that I know exactly how you can set up a whole bunch of sound effects that run over the same line mic as your voice does.
I actually had to do research.
Oh, so this
I
trolling was
did not help him
intentional.
with this, by the way. I kept my knowledge to myself. He
Uh-huh,
did it on
uh-huh.
his own.
It's a conspiracy!
It's always a conspiracy.
He did that most dastardly of all things.
Look, I don't even
He
actually have to do
learned.
anything to Omar. All I have to do is tell him I have plans, and I might have talked with Reb about it, and that he cringes, and then I'm done.
I'm actually gaining
See, he just did it.
I'm actually gaining a little bit of immunity every time you do it, so be careful. Use your options wisely.
It's always a race
almost
between
like-
the lethal dose and the immunity, though.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. It's almost like it's part of my dastardly plan to get you to stop freaking out whenever Rev does something.
Hashin has some
Rev always
interesting
comes up with
thoughts here.
New and interesting ways to do shit, so.
But it's
Exposure
fun,
therapy.
not paranoid.
I thought that there was some
Geneva
mixed
Convention's against that?
research about the effectiveness of exposure therapy.
It depends on if it's medically supervised and what particular thing you're doing. Exposure therapy is actually basically what allergy shots are.
Dumps a bucket of spiders on an arachnophobe and watches them die.
They will die or get stronger.
That's not exposure therapy.
That's shock
But there are
therapy.
legitimate versions of exposure
That's
therapy.
straight up torture.
Warner, let's see what you got. What's new and exciting for you?
Well,
God. Just ignore him. You know what? That's really the answer, but can we ignore him is the problem.
Well, yeah, about that. Anyway, in the last 4 weeks or so, someone in my household seems to have always have been sick. And then this weekend, I thought we were finally out of it. And
no.
Saturday night, took the family out to a Chinese buffet to celebrate my oldest's birthday belatedly. Because she wanted Chinese for her birthday dinner.
As one does.
Then after that, my middle child threw up again promptly. And for the last couple of days, it's been my wife who's been feeling ill. So I have taken the last couple of days off of work to play Parent Prime and care for my children and my wife.
Parent Prime.
I
love the term. I'm gonna use it again, probably in a not so parental sort of way.
The Primaris parent, if you would.
Yeah, I was thinking BattleTech clan deck, but whatever.
Very nice. Anyway, so yeah, I am very much enjoying my time after the children are all in bed.
Yeah, I bet. I bet you are. Nothing much new and exciting for me. In the last 2 weeks, I've had 4 days off because I've called out because of this wonderful thing called Vertigo. It would also be the reason why there hasn't been a lot of content or streaming from this channel. Vertigo can literally go fuck itself, and I don't even know or care how many minutes into this video we are before I've dropped the bomb. I said what I said, and I stand by it, and I'll die on that hill.
Literally?
No, I'm not dying. I'm immortal. I'm not gonna die. I have a Halo device.
Somebody's phone timer's going off.
That's yeah, that's the Shield the Allspark for the 13 Primes. Wow, there's a reference that many may not catch. I don't know. I should throw out the deep lore for Transformers.
Rise, Rodimus Prime.
Yeah. Previously on the Tides of Acheron, the explorers have returned from the warp and arrived at Footfall. Now on station, the rogue trader begins seeing to the repair of the newly renamed Pursuit of Profit and the perilous raider captured from the pirates. Additionally, I cannot speak. Additionally, a meeting is had with a station liege, Moros Tithes, as well as a lower-level operative of the Kasbalika, Emil Astris. Lastly, the stage is set for an unexpected encounter with what may or may not be members of the local Inquisition's Ordo Xenos. And I need to take a very quick break. Give me 1 second here, guys.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Yeah, sorry. My son was getting ready to go to school because 12 hours ago, it would have been time to leave for the bus. And 12 hours from now, it would be time to leave for the bus. He must have slept a lot harder than I thought he did. Yeah. Apologies. So, when last we met, the last thing we did was you guys went to go speak with... Actually, I think the last thing we did was speaking with the Scrivener. Am I right?
Sounds right.
Didn't we speak with the Imperial representative after the Scrivener?
Correct.
You, at the Scrivener's workplace, and in fact, you did speak with a...
Sorry, inquisitorial representative.
Yes, a member of the Inquisition, because I threw this at you guys. And let me get my stream to switch over as well. I threw one of these things at you. No, I want that, and I want... No, adversaries. That. I threw that symbol at you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if I've done my research correctly, is the symbol for not just the Inquisition, but the Ordo Xenos.
I thought that was the standard inquisitorial rosette, but I could be mistaken.
I could be mistaken too. I believe I got the image for Ordo Xenos. I don't have anything that specifically identifies the various symbology for various Ordos, etc. of the Inquisition, so I went with that one. At the very least, it's obviously the Inquisition. Always suspect the Inquisition. At any rate, you have met with the Scrivener Lorraine, who had a first name, but I don't remember it now.
Victress. Or
Yes.
Victrix.
Yeah, that sounds right. Victress Lorraine. He has compensated you for bringing him the books, etc. He has also helped you acquire detailed navigation charts between Footfall and Magaros, where you believe the treasure ship is currently residing, somewhere in that system. And while there, you met with an individual stating that the one of the local senior leadership types of the Inquisition, you know, in a way that is definitely a demand but sounds more like a request, asks for you to come see her post haste. And then you did at some point meet with Emil Astris of the Kazbalika, who's basically said, hey man, there's some Xeno shit out there. Why don't you find some and bring some back for me? And a deal was made where you get basically first pick and whatever's left over he gets to pick from, and then you could sell it off to whomever. Or something like that.
Not necessarily entirely first pick.
There's a few
But,
limitations and or caveats, but
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But it's close to the understanding.
mhm.
A reasonable summation.
On that note, I imagine we're going to go see the Inquisition near the Synosium.
If our business with the Scrivener is finished,
It is my understanding it is, because your profit factor is
which I believe it was.
46 to 47. You are brought to the inquisitorial offices of Sabrina. Well, you're led there by
Escorted.
the individual that came to see you at the Scrivener's shop.
Well, for one thing, if he tried to lead us, I would make it clear I already knew where it was, and that was my next destination anyway.
Sure. In that case, he is pretending to be your guide, when in truth, he's actually leading you there, because you don't know how to get to the Xenosium.
I thought I'd been given directions.
It is, of course, your ye old typical Warhammer 40k cathedral Gothic style edifice with impressively large and what's the word I want to use here? Doom imparting gargoyle-ish statues and things of that nature. It doesn't outright say this is the it doesn't write out say on the front signpost that this is the Inquisition, but there's probably a feeling that, you know, you could imagine is like, yeah, if there's any place around here, this one's got a little extra to it, it's definitely going to be the Inquisition. At some point, you were eventually brought to her main office, or suites of offices, or what have you, and finally brought to her Sabrina Andrymos. I'm going to spell that in TTS chat for you.
Andrynos?
In TTS chat, I just dropped her name. She is a pale, waif-thin woman whose garments make her look larger and more impressive, and stands at just under 2 meters tall. Her hair is pulled tightly back into a bun, and yet there is not a single strand out of place. And she has an obvious red and black toned augmetic covering her right eye, emitting a faint crimson light. Between her gauntness and the lighting of her chambers, there are shadows on top of shadows over her face, somehow making her visage more imposing or intimidating, perhaps as if by design. She allows you entry, or, you know, invites you in, I guess would be the more appropriate term. And her office is probably fairly sparse, a few seating arrangements, and her main desk, which might as well be a slab of concrete for all the finery that's on it, outside of, you know, various, what's what I'm looking for here, affectations of, you know, the God Emperor and her office. Not her office, but like her station. But beyond that, and a few lights, it's pretty sparse. There is, of course, the massive window to one side that overlooks what could otherwise be considered the entryway or access way into the Xenosium. For lack of a better way to phrase it, it would be like looking out from an office window and looking at the main road through the area and over the bridge, and knowing that on the other side of the bridge is, you know, where the aliens are. And she says in a soft voice. Welcome, Lord Captain. I am Sabrina Andrimos, and I am so happy that you have arrived.
Let me assure you, Lady Andrinos, the pleasure is all mine.
Indeed.
Do you have your intelligence reports informed you of who my cadre are, or shall I offer introductions?
Let's continue with the pleasantries. Please, introduce me.
Well, I have here Reinhardt, my master at arms, my
give her a crisp
shipboard
salute.
expert.
She nods to your salute, but you can tell that there's a certain layer of respect imparted in that nodding.
Okie dokie.
I have my master of all things spaceworthy,
J. Sebastian.
a Mr. Sebastian.
Anko, rather.
I give her a bow.
I said,
When she responds to your bow, there's a certain distance involved. Maybe less of a smile and more of just a blank face as she dips her head slightly in your direction.
I have Mistress Winter, a psyker, sanctioned by the Emperor himself.
Indeed, I see her markings of the soul binding rituals and etc. Welcome, Lady Winter.
I do a very slight head nod, but otherwise I continue acting like a guard.
I have my agent of the Mechanicum, a Icarus.
Your engine seer
Is what he prefers to go by.
Welcome, servant of the
Indeed.
Omnissiah. There's no bow or nodding or anything. She just simply says that with a let's call it a dry smile. Like it's a smile, but there's not a lot of feeling in it. To Alterio. I'm sorry, Icarus. Well, a pleasure it is to meet all of you. I am Sabrina Andrimos, as I've already stated my name, of course. I am responsible for certain activities relating to the Xenos horrors, both on Footfall and in the Expanse. I'm sure you have a few questions as to why I'm wondering. Excuse me, I'm sure you have some questions wondering why you're here, etc. Let's start with those and then see where the conversation takes us.
Not necessarily questions as to why I'm here. I had my own reasons for coming and would have come regardless of your agent.
What an interesting way to lead a conversation, Lord Captain. Please, with what pleasure would I owe your arrival had I not sought you out myself?
Well, you may be aware of the adventure of which I have enlisted myself and my company to. I imagine that's why you called me.
You refer to the righteous path.
I do.
Go on.
I said, but further, we're entering an area of space that is little patrolled or little known by a great deal of humans. And there are a number of alien species that inhabit that area, some of which can be bargained with and some cannot. But to that end, I wish to see if any other rogue traders or any other Xenos had found their way into the Xenosium who could possibly serve as guides, interpreters, or anything of that else with the relaxed enforcement of certain principles that the Emperor has regarding Xenos for rogue traders.
I think you would do well to ignore anything that comes out of this Xenosium, physical or otherwise. Much of what takes place there has so little to do with humanity and more to do with the locals simply trying to survive, albeit under our boot heels where we can best keep them out of our way. And so far as any agencies or intelligence about the Expanse, of course, there are your typical orcs, the greenskins abound. There are reports from time to time, every decade or two, of Drukari raiding. Fruit mercenaries are not common, but I personally would prefer to see a lot less of them, but that's neither here nor there. I think your biggest concern, especially revolving around your current mission, is that there are indeed, as best as I can tell from my own available information I have gathered over the last 50 years, I might add, one, if not two, artifacts specifically Xenos in nature aboard that vessel. If you were to find that vessel and recover those artifacts for me. And she does one of those things with her hands where she's like, it's not quite a shrug, and it's just kind of lifts her hands as if to say that anything could be possible, but she can't obviously guarantee anything is possible.
Are we talking remuneration or a longer-term contract with forces of the Imperium that would benefit us both?
I am in no position to contract out any of the Imperial assets at my disposal. Remuneration, payment, favors. Obviously, the more you bring me, the more that I can offer in compensation. The mutual benefits of this relationship will be largely determined at the onset on how much you bring back.
Understood. There are, as you are aware, other interested parties.
She gives you what would probably pass for a steely-eyed, intimidating gaze for anybody else. But knowing who you are, or more importantly, what you are, she has toned it down a bit. And she says, do those other parties have the interests of the God Emperor at heart?
I say, I was not planning on a bidding war. However,
that's exactly what you were trying to do.
No, it wasn't. You actually interrupted before I could finish my sentence, but I was not trying to start a bidding war, but merely an opening to a discussion about, in order for me to not suffer very negative penalties in my furtherance of the goals of the Emperor through my warrant of trade, how much of the total would have to be sacrificed to appease other interests without hurting your interests?
You speak of those Casbalica, don't you?
They are unfortunately the grease that gets the gears turning in this sector.
An entirely unnecessary, necessary evil. I agree. When she says that, there is a certain amount of vile on the word evil, and not because they share the same four letters in different order. And she says, any deals that you have made with them are your own making, but any deals made with them at the expense of the Inquisition, the Imperium, the God Emperor himself, forfeits your soul and quite possibly your warrant. You are aware, correct?
I am aware that my warrant gives me the access to make deals that would otherwise go against traditional imperial sanction, as I deem for judgment for the betterment of the overall of the empire.
Indeed.
Were I to say be unable to fulfill that because my ships were sabotaged, because certain parties saw that supplies were not delivered, and my house withered on the vine, what fulfillment of my warrant would that be?
I will not deny you could easily find yourself in a precarious position, Lord Captain. I, of course, have no other real option but to defer to your judgment and, based on your judgment, perhaps intervene where I feel necessary. I truly hope we don't have to get to any sort of disagreed interventions.
There seem to be a couple of artifacts in particular that, should they be on the ship, are of interest to you, and I will do my best to deliver. And probably more so beside that. I have no intention to withhold what the Empire needs.
Very well. I will give you some information as to what it is that I believe is on that ship. To wit, you may find what could be best described as a spherical object the size of a man's torso. Cut that in half. Take a second spherical object about the size of a person's head and place it at the center of the first hemisphere, so as that a second hemisphere could be adjoined to it. Are you following so far?
I believe so.
1, 2, or 3 of these objects, and by 1, 2, or 3, what she's indicating is that one or both hemispheres and the connector may be present. Any one of the 3 up to all 3 could be on that ship.
Above the table, we're essentially talking about a hemispherical nesting doll, yes?
I don't know specifically of what you're referring to, but basically if you take a sphere, cut it in half, and then have a smaller sphere that would join the two halves together, with probably a bit of a gap in between, then yeah.
Okay.
That's effectively what she's describing. I don't have any imagery for you because this is something completely homebrew, for lack of a better word.
You know what a nesting doll is, right?
Yeah, like the Russian nesting dolls, yeah. Where you take one off and there's another one, you take that off, there's another one, and ad nauseum.
Mhm.
Yeah. So basically,
but like that, except if you tried to put them back together, there's a slight gap between each layer.
Yeah, basically. The two larger hemispheres would match up with each other, and then you have the smaller sphere in the middle that holds them together, and then you've got probably a gap. And she does present a crude drawing of what she's talking about, and so the two hemispheres are separated by what appears to be the distance of a person's fist, with that one whole sphere adjoining the two of them in the center. There's no real like detailed markings or anything. It's just a basic rough sketch of two hemispheres held together by a sphere.
And does this device have any inherent dangers associated with it?
Hold on. How would she respond to that? If you are concerned about radiation, my understanding is that there is none. I have to caution you. Take whatever precautions you deem necessary to keep your crew and ship safe. Put it in a sealed container of some sort. One that would presumably absorb any sort of emanating energies if you feel the need. The priority is that this object is recovered before other parties claim it.
Does this object bear the taint of chaos, or is it merely a Xenos object that the Imperium wishes to study? What level of precautions should I need to take?
I don't have enough information, unfortunately. Take whatever precautions you feel are prudent. As far as...
Is it safer to keep the device disassembled in its separate components?
Yes. We believe it's some sort of beacon, but we have not been able to verify in any way, shape, or form the veracity of that theory. What we do know is that it is alien. It is not connected in any way that we can tell with the warp, or, the immaterium, or the archenemy, or any of its smaller facets. Purely alien in design, make, and function. We know very little, but we have a large concern. To be honest, Lord Captain, there's much that I can tell you and much that I should not because of restrictions. What I can say is that we need it for the safety of humanity in this part of space. I wish I could tell you more. You are already heading there. I don't have even my tentative grasp on any Deathwatch assets is so faint that I wouldn't be able to call in those without knowing where the artifact actually is. Thus, the treasure hunter, you, can find it and bring it back here. Does that answer your questions, Lord Captain? Or do you have more?
The only other thing that would be is, are you aware of any of the materials that it's made of that we recognize in that respect? And do you have any further intelligence about the direction in which our journey lies?
What I can tell you is that... Alright, so this part of the conversation I'm going to throw out of character because imagine she's using the in-character words. I can't remember all of them. The captain of the Righteous Path that went on the plundering fucking bazaar, right? That just went and sacked whole worlds and shit. I can't remember his name. What it's believed is that this device may have originated from that planet of aliens, or a planet of aliens that he conquered during that crusade. And that whatever reason stopped him from returning to the Imperium proper, it was, he had acquired this device or these devices at that time and was not able to, for obvious reasons, bring everything back. It's stuck somewhere. You guys, of course, have learned through Obris Dre that the ship is in the Mogoro system, but you don't know where in that system, which of course means that's, billions of cubic kilometers of space that you have to figure out where it is. That information is a little better than what Andrymos has, is that, they believe it might be in the Mogoro system, but they don't have enough of a solid lead to warrant sending out a Deathwatch team, which is what the Inquisition probably would do if they had more definitive proof or evidence or what have you. So what she's basically doing is leaning on you guys, the treasure hunters, going after this fabled ship that may or may not exist, outside of the fact that she just confirmed it existed. She's relying on you guys to go out and get this stuff and bring it back. Also, she may or may not make not quite veiled threats, or, well, they wouldn't be threats, but, veiled statements about probable deniability and all that. Plausible deniability, I mean. Does that make sense? Have I lost you anywhere? Anyone?
Not at all.
Okay.
We are deniable assets.
Effectively, I mean, listen, it's the Inquisition. The entire Imperium is deniable. If it keeps humanity alive. As far as any specific...
She said, above the table, she said a couple, so I'll go ahead and for expediency's sake. She said a couple. Was she referring to different components as a couple, or is there a secondary device she is also interested in?
She is referring to the two hemispheres and the one joining sphere as a single object or set. And to her knowledge, that's the only one.
Hmm.
When it comes to markings, Lord Captain, or materials, metallic, unfortunately, is the best answer I can give you. The few notes we have on this are, and when she says notes, she actually makes something of a hand gesture towards a data slate to indicate that there was some sort of physical publishing, physical publication of some sort at some point. Unfortunately, the few notes that we actually have about this object are several hundred years old, and data is easily lost and corrupted. Paper soon fades and crumbles. Or, excuse me, ink fades, paper crumbles.
Yes. Well, barring your leave, Lady Inquisitor, I still wish to make at least a perfunctory attempt at seeing if there is any assistance within the Xenosium. Barring you have strict objections to that.
I'm trying to think, how would she respond to that? I will not stop you, Lord Captain, but I would strongly urge and counsel that you ignore the Xenosium. I doubt you will find anything you are looking for there. But that would be assuming I knew the Lord Captain's mind about why he would be going there in the first place.
Well, at the very least, it has the potential for some interesting entertainment and some combat experience for my cadre.
I would, again, strongly caution against that. Things can quickly swell out of hand. If you note, there are very few humans, and those that are human that are in there are, in my personal opinion, less than human. You may not find much in the way of help, and much in the way of danger.
Well, there shouldn't be that much in the way of aliens within the Xenosium, as I understand it.
Am I forgetting what the Xenosium is? Isn't that literally where all the aliens are held?
It would be like an alien's quarter, except it's not a place that normal aliens travel to. It's a place that aliens are that who may have been with a human ship are left. So
okay.
it's typically aliens who serve some purpose and some use, or in a few rare cases, aliens who were deemed too dangerous to let loose.
Okay.
So it's not like the Elven Quarter in Dragon Age.
Oh, I haven't played Dragon Age quite a while, so, and certainly not the new one. Okay, yeah. In that case, yeah, she just simply gives you a, do as you will. You're, she's not detaining you. I mean, let me back up. Do as you will. There's nothing specifically stopping you. Nothing that she is going to do to specifically stop you from going in there. But she will strongly recommend and discourage you from going. And mostly because she just doesn't believe there's anything helpful down there for you. But she's also Inquisition and Ordo Xenos and fuck the aliens. Humanity first.
No.
Some of that is her personal opinion. Some of that is her professional opinion. Well, I guess that's a good way to summarize it.
But still, it's always, if you're going to be having intercourse with aliens, it's always a...
Whoa.
Are you not aware of the definition of that word?
I am, but I fear that not many are. That they only have one definition of that word. And actually kind of inaccurate one, but, I know what you're saying. If you're going to interact, yes.
Have dialogue.
Yeah.
And or platonic relations involving trade
Listen, I don't want to be that guy that makes you tap dance around specific word choices here, but unfortunately, most people don't understand the wild varieties and uses of words.
All
I
of you
probably
can,
would have used the word discourse.
Discourse would probably have been a better choice, but yes.
except intercourse also refers to trade,
Yeah,
business.
Yeah.
It has a wide variety of meanings.
it does. And that's why that one particular use of the word intercourse has a very specific adjective next to it.
Yes. Much like that adjective being added to the word Congress changes the meaning of that word.
Well, I still feel like Congress is fucking me constantly, but whatever. I really had to say that one, though. That one was really necessary.
Congress is in Congress with you? Is that what you're saying?
It's not even consensual either. That's the fucked up part. I digress.
Technically, as you voted for them, it is quite consensual.
Actually, it's not consensual because I have not voted ever. I take that back. I have voted a few times, but not anytime recently.
Well, then that's your fault.
Indeed. But now you're victim shaming, and I don't like it. I really need to stop with this joke because somebody somewhere is going to be offended that I said that.
Well, they can be offended.
They're allowed to be, certainly. Yeah, so unless you've got anything else you want to ask of her, that's pretty much all she wanted to ask of you.
I will ask if, since she's given so little chance to be with people of her station, should she wish for a formal dinner aboard the ship before I leave, I would be more than happy to be our host.
Roll charm. I'll give you a plus 10.
Ooh.
This conversation was fairly pleasant.
Let's
Insofar as she
see.
met her objectives, anyway.
All right. Let me double check my sheet. Looking at the rulebook is not going to help me. That is the wrong tab.
Character sheet would be the better way to go.
It would be.
Also, I believe, don't you have a talent or something that gives you like a plus 10 or something like that when
I do.
in like certain circumstances or a lot of circumstances?
So is she considered nobility?
I think in this case, yes.
Okay, so I have a plus 10 interaction to high authority.
If
And I
she's
have a
absolutely high authority.
And I have a second plus 10 interaction to nobility.
Okay.
And you've given me a plus 10. So that puts me at a 80 fellowship score.
Jesus. You got a
roll away, sir.
You have a 50s fellowship score?
Yes.
Alright, that's good. We can roll with that.
And I do have enough spare XP that I could go ahead and spend it on the plus 10 charm right now.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I don't think you're going to need it. I mean, I say that and watch, you're going to get a 99 and a 98 on the reroll.
Right.
That is by about 4 degrees of success. So, yeah. What she does say, and I'm saying this mostly because I don't know what your timeline's looking like, but she comes back with, Lord Captain, the honor would be mine. Are you planning to do this dinner this evening? If not, I may not be able to attend.
Well, my timetable is rather short. You understand my pressing desire to be moving along.
Indeed.
So tonight would be more than fortuitous.
I shall be there. Give me I imagine your work crews are already preparing your meal, but I can probably be there. And she takes a moment to rifle through a data slate to, her 40K equivalent of a daily planner. And so I can be there in about 3 hours.
Mm-hmm. So I say thank you, and I bid you good day until we meet again.
Indeed, Lord Captain. She'll stand and reach over her desk to shake your hand or some other gesture as appropriate.
I hold up my white linen gloved hand and go, please, no contact.
Do you really?
No.
Because I think that would be almost insulting. Or you kiss the ring. Fuck you, I'm the Inquisition. You kiss my ring.
As they both stand there with rings held out.
Yeah, it just becomes a fist bump.
Yes.
No, you know how when you hold the ring out to be kissed, it's a limp wrist. So it's a limp wristed sort of back of the hand touch.
Yeah, it's a really weird moment. It's one of those where you just don't know what you're supposed to do.
The
No.
awkwardness is palpable.
If
Oops.
if a ringed hand was held out, I would obviously follow the cues and behave as high society properly should.
Yeah.
When I'm
Insofar as anything societal is concerned, she outranks you in this particular moment. If she was on your ship, it'd be a different story.
well, a gentleman kisses a lady's hand when they're greeting and leaving anyway.
There is that too. Yeah. All right.
Skip the ring, go for the hand.
I believe we are at that point.
I leave
where
and she looks down at her hand, missing a ring.
now that would be some rogue shit
All
right there.
Disney Robin Hood.
Yeah. What are we doing next?
More jewels that way.
Yeah, really. What are we doing next? I believe we have acquisition rolls. We have.
We do, but so two things on our since we're here at the Xenosium, we'll go there next, I suppose, and acquisition rolls on the way out, unless you want to do the rolls first, technically, just so we get them done this session. I understand that. But I will be making a Vox call en route to the Xenosium to the head of the station. I forget his name.
Moros Tanthus. Believe?
Yes.
Okay.
To Mr. Tanthus. And if I will be okay, I'm assuming that I could also possibly get his secretary, as that's who I got before, and I will simply request the contact information of whatever supplier of goods provided Mr. Tanthus with that wonderful meal that we had.
You wish to have dinner catered from the station to your ship and pass it off as your ship's last meal before departing.
I suspect it will be a slightly finer cuisine than what my Ogren chef would prepare.
You have so little faith in Jeff the chef. I am disappointed in you right now, Red.
He has a 5 intelligence.
He has the ability to read and make wonderful things like upside down pineapple grenade cake.
Hold on, if he has the ability to read, he's above Bonehead intelligence level.
Yeah. He's a special Ogren. It's a character I made specifically for that role. Because I wanted something a little bit, different for that particular part of the ship.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's called Cooking with Puns. It's not. It's about to be now that I've said it and I've let the cat out of the bag, so now I have to live up to it every week. So, fuck.
Right.
Right there with my face hugger troop every week in Alien.
There you go.
Yeah, Rodance, I'm still thinking about you.
I will now be asking what we're having for dinner every night.
Oh, Jesus, no, don't. I cannot. Come on. I can barely handle dinner every night in my own life, let alone a fictitious one.
Okay, once a session.
That's a stretch. That is a stretch. Listen, you get one special thing until it gets used, and then I got to think of a new special thing and hope that we don't use it for a while, so I don't have to think of another one again. And right now, upside down pineapple grenade cake is the next one. We haven't had it yet.
Well, tell you what, since it is a special occasion, we'll get a few delicacies from off the ship, and Jeff the chef can fix the main course and dessert.
Okay. Yeah, well, obviously the upside down pineapple grenade cake is going to be
obvious. Well, that's why do you think I said dessert?
Last time it was rock soup for the, I believe it was the main course. I could be wrong. At any rate, I have nothing specifically prepared for the Xenosium. I know you wanted to go there, but I was just like, whatever. I'm sure I can wing it if I need to. Well, look at that. Here I am having to wing it. So, what do you want to accomplish in the Xenosium?
Well, is there a sector name for the area that I would not specifically have to say Magoros?
Oh, the Foundling Worlds. Is that what you mean?
Yes. Sorry, I did not mean to click. I bumped my keyboard.
Oops. Hold on one second.
I put a ping on the map, and I was...
Oh, I didn't even see it.
That was unintentional.
Alright, so the Foundling Worlds counts for Magoros, because this whole section here is basically considered the Foundling Worlds. So if you want to refer to that area or region You would call it the Foundling Worlds, in lieu of trying to say the Magoro system in particular, because you don't want to draw attention there.
Right. So I would be. I'm assuming that we have something akin to a. Dang it! Above the table, I was going to ask Icarus to. I got distracted with some other stuff, but I was going to have Icarus. I was going to kick open the door to the Inquisitorium and play some music, but your monologue got in the way. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not sure what that had to do with Icarus, but okay.
Well, Icarus has all the techno bits. So who better to play my entry music?
Oh yes,
Icarus?
yes. Well, I suppose you could try to do it in the Xenosium. I'm going to ask that you don't do it on Zoom though, just because various copyright concerns and random sounds.
Fair enough.
Although walking into the Xenosium is not like walking into a shop; it's more like walking into a neighborhood.
Right. Well, the Xenosium should be somewhere between a jail and a sparsely populated district.
Yeah, that's probably about accurate for what I have envisioned. It's been a couple weeks since I looked at that section in the book. But yeah, that's kind of like a neighborhood with not many people roaming around and probably a bar with everybody in it. Or
possibly
something like that.
But then there's also going to be a section that's literally like a high security wing.
Oh yeah. Which is probably directly adjacent and probably actually connected to the Inquisitorium. Ironic, isn't it? The Ordo Xenos having the high security section right there at the Xenosium. So weird.
Well, if the Ordo Xenos was in charge of it and not a district where rogue traders left their prized, dangerous pets, then the Ordo Xenos would be going through and executing them one by one.
Exactly. Anyway, I think you don't really get held up per se as you transition into the Xenosium, but there's a few humans that are bearing visually they would look like Imperial Guardsmen of some sort, but they are very obviously not Imperial Guardsmen, even though they don't have any Inquisitorial symbols on them.
Mm-hmm.
I think, in fact, if anything, the fact that they have no symbols on them is enough of a giveaway that they're not Imperial Guard and are, in fact, the Inquisitorial version of Imperial Guard.
Yes. Well, I would essentially be using something akin to a bullhorn through whatever means that we had. Winter, can you make all the mines in the general area hear something that I have to say?
No, that's not a broadcast powers don't really exist.
Also, I'm sure that brooch is some sort of that's not cool, man.
Yeah.
It would, but since when has that bothered my character?
Well, since when has that bothered you? Yeah, I said it.
Actually, I do try to walk the fine line of decorum, believe it or not.
I'm going to refrain from further comment and allow you to continue with this so you can continue with the show.
Keep it up and I'll play more copyrighted music.
Please don't.
But essentially on something akin to a bullhorn.
Mm-hmm. A Voxcaster.
Unless we see something akin to a gathering place immediately. As in the bar you described.
I think that would be a little bit deeper. So what I'm picturing is you come out of this Gothic cathedral-looking office building. You could see that one wing of that extends into what would otherwise be considered the borders of the Xenosium, and that is the high security section. That's where the super dangerous and questionably moral choices Xenos are kept.
Yeah.
And then maybe a few, like a block or two from that, once you're in the Xenosium, that's where you would find a commons or a quad, or I don't want to say park, but you get the idea.
Given the nature of Footfall and its ramshackle nature, I'm picturing something somewhere square between a town in the Old West and the ramshackle shanty towns of the turn of the century.
Yeah, that would make sense, and you'd probably see a handful of different architectural styles as well. deviated quite a bit from the Gothic cathedral type of the Imperium. So you do come across what could be considered a crossroads, but the roads leading to the crossroads, like the first 50 meters or so, are so worn down by foot traffic and whatnot that it's not really it's not really a crossroads anymore. It's more of like a trading circle. There are a couple of not shacks, stalls set up. People selling various types of skins for different things. Somebody selling some meat that smells delicious, but is very clearly not um, standard human fare.
It could be human fare.
It could very well be human, but it's hard to tell at this point because it's, I wouldn't say well done, but it's well cooked.
Do any of the shops even have a remote resemblance of reputableness? Do any of them look slightly better than the others in terms of upkeep? Possibly one of the skins shops.
I mean, a lot of the stuff I feel like a lot of these people would be getting cast-off materials, so it would be hard to keep a clean facade. Well,
I'm not talking about looking like Macy's, but
well, yeah, I think there is a shop off to one side that does seem to be in slightly better condition than the next 3 or 4. But when I say slightly, I don't want you to think like a vast improvement. It's
right.
Marginally better in the fact that it has all the walls and the beams and panes of glass versus the next 3 or 4 that are missing one or more of those things.
Yes.
Or there's maybe there's bullet holes or chunks ripped off. Or
Indeed.
other scorch marks and whatnot. What kind of shop are you looking for?
Well, I guess my question is what is in this shop?
Well, because again, I will point out I don't have anything specific prepared for the Xenosium. It's whatever you want is in there, within reason, obviously. It can sell anything from simple foods, not fit for human consumption, for a variety of reasons, to various leathers. It could be a knick-knack shop. It could be a bunch of alien-made trinkets that mean absolutely nothing to the human other than the curiosity of it.
Ooh, a sight crystal.
Could be, but it's really just a painted rock, so...
Well,
but
Omar,
to that alien culture, it meant something. To you, it means nothing. Yeah.
With as much respect as I can, you're the GM and I am the player. You're supposed to tell me what the shop is, not the other way around.
No, you're right. You're right. I was giving you the chance to make the shop what you want it to be. But this shop does sell various rocks. And when I say rocks, it's crystals. It's rocks shaped into jewelry. It's a trade craft.
Yeah. So it's rocks, anything pretty or shiny, and not necessarily a value. Okay.
Yeah. Some of them might have some value. There might be like bloodstone or something in there, but
who is manning the shop? Do I recognize the species?
It's something close to human, but not human. In Star Wars, I believe it would be called a never mind, I forgot it.
Well, in Warhammer, those are typically called abhumans.
Yeah, that's the word that was coming to mind. But abhuman, insofar as appears mostly human, but genetically speaking, he is not human. But you wouldn't see that right away unless you take a blood sample and start running his DNA.
Does he have pointy ears?
No, they're actually a bit more rounded than you would expect. But whatever. Dark hair. Maybe a bit malnourished.
Greetings.
Yes, what can I do for you, my friend?
Well, I am just wondering if there is are there any recent arrivals to the Xenosium? Some that might have some space, or any creatures that might have a spacefaring in their past that you're aware of?
There was a ship here not that long ago, like 15 days. Hang on, I gotta refer to some of my notes. 185. Oh wow, that was a bit more than that. 64. Yeah. Oh, there was. Ooh, I think it was about a month, maybe a little less ago. The fell hand pulled into port right over there, and he points out a window that is overlooking a portion of the docks. You see, I guess this would be like a steeple from near the top of one of your ships, but you can't see anything else because of various, rocks and asteroids and bits of station sticking out in the way. And so, yeah, the fell hand pulled in right over there. That's about as much excitement as I've had of late. They didn't even come over here to say hi, the Josie. Poor old Josie, no real custom. I should just apply for a license to go to the main station and try to sell my stuff there. Would you like? I have blue, I have green, I have red, there's even purple over here.
Does he have anything that's actual crystal?
What can I find for you? I've got various types of rocks, shiny rocks, metals, metal pendants.
I'm asking above the table. Does he have?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get you back under the or no, not under the table. In character. Crystals.
Okay.
Make a awareness. Is that it, or is it perception?
Perception.
Yeah, perception roll.
All right. Let's see.
I guess it would be awareness.
Yes, but it's based on perception, so we were both right and wrong. Would you like to fate point that, or is that good enough for your perception, awareness, whatever? Awareness is the skill. Perception is the characteristic attribute.
Well, it's perception, and I do have trained in awareness, and it's not enough. But essentially,
may I roll as well?
Sure, you're all in
here. Just so that everyone knows what I'm looking for. I was looking for anything. I could always use a nice paperweight for my study, and
you want craftsmanship, something that catches the eye, sparks questions, demands debate.
How about this one, Captain?
Yes, that would be what I do. And he points to what I assume you found is a hand-sized, diamond-cut, blue-green with purple speckles throughout. It's not quite crystal, but definitely not glass, but definitely not rock. It's got some sort of quality all around. Like,
it's crystalline.
Yeah, crystal-ish.
So more semi-precious.
Yeah.
So not a turquoise, but maybe like a jade.
Yeah, something along those lines. But it's got like the blue-green colors. It's kind of like, picture something cyan blue with green rivulets all through it, and then like purple sparkles. That sounds so weird in my head.
Sounds vaguely opalescent.
Yes, that were they. I think that will do for your paper of weights. Weights of, what'd you say it was that you wanted? A paper weight?
Yes. A small decoration for my desk aboard ship.
You find no better here than that there.
What? Somebody behind me just turned on the shredder, and it caught me off guard because I thought I was the only one awake.
Really weird time to have the shredder of all things turn on.
Yeah, you're telling me. Yes, well, I said, and how much for this?
A number that is easily within reach for a rogue trader with a profit factor of 47.
Yes, well, whatever small number of not guilders, that's thrones. The wrong currency, thrones. I was thinking gelt.
I think the term is actually gelt throne, but yeah.
Throne gelt.
Throne gelt, thank you. I had it flip-flop.
But it's often shorthanded as gelt.
Yeah, either one.
But whatever number of gelt it is, I hold out a couple more than he mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, and is there anywhere where locals, particularly those who might be more of the spacefaring type, would gather to drink or hang out in a particular establishment?
Yes. The smoking hole. It's just a block down that way, and then you make a right. And he's pointing out the door, pointing in the direction you would have been coming before turning in here.
Mm-hmm.
If you go down, I have to warn you, it can get a little rowdy if the Kroot are in town, but fortunately for you, there are no Kroot here today that I know of. I haven't seen any. If you see any, please don't mention my shop's name that I'm not going to tell you what it is, because I don't want any Kroot in here. It can get a little bitey.
Yes, but many a famed rogue trader has often had a Kroot as a member of their entourage.
Indeed. And I'm so thankful that somebody came by and swooped them all up with a good contract. I at least I assume that's what happened.
It wasn't a fair hand, was it?
Well, that's a good question, Lord Captain. I believe you
did
are
say
Lord
that
Captain. Yes, you are
You did-
Lord Captain.
You did say that they had not ventured down this way.
To my knowledge, they were docked, as close as one could probably get without actually coming down here. But they didn't stick around long, and I don't recall seeing any of their people down this way.
Well, hopefully they didn't recruit any Kroot.
You just wanted to say that, didn't you? Again, I don't know all the things that happen here on Footfall, but I know this. There are no Kroot. I don't think they took them. If there are Kroot, please don't direct them this way. I can't stand those beady-eyed bastards. Actually, I don't think they're beady-eyed. They're more bug-eyed, but I think.
They might be beady-eyed. They're birdie-ish.
Yeah, they are weird. Yeah. But yeah.
Bird lizards.
Yes.
And unless they need to eat, they're not that conflict-oriented, as I understood.
You may have that slightly backwards. They eat what they kill, but I could be wrong, too. It's been a bit since I actually looked at them.
That was my point. Unless they're hungry, they don't tend to pick fights.
Yeah.
Is that they are a quite decentralized group of aliens.
Yes, very much.
And that depending on the shaper that leads the particular warband,
that's true too.
They can be very, very different from each other.
Yeah. And generically across the board, Kroot are. You don't want to be on their bad side. I know that much.
Yeah, that's true. And
that's where this guy's at. He doesn't. I think that's what it is Josie here just doesn't trust the Kroot in general because there's too many varieties, too many different possible outcomes, and it's more than he can fathom. And he's just like, nope, I don't want to deal with it. No Kroot, period.
Well, Josie, perhaps I can, should your information be useful, should it come up in dinner with the head of the station, I will mention that you had a pass in waiting, and perhaps should you be elevated out of this area.
Oh, I appreciate the effort, Lord Captain, but I don't think that will be ever happening. That bitch and Drymos will not let me out of here. It's fine. I make do with what I have. I'm happy to sell my little rocks and trinkets. It's enough to get by.
A sniper shot comes from the Order Xenos at his...
Yeah, that's... Actually, no, what it is, we get a cutscene, or not a cutscene, we get a mid-scene swipe cut, and it's in Drymos with a sticky pad, and at the top it says, Josie's called me a bitch so many times, and then there's tick marks, and it's up to like 147, and she puts another one down. And it cuts back to the crew.
Well, then we will head to the smoking hole.
Okay.
After thanking Josie.
Oh, no, don't take anything of it, please. Before you leave, come get more trinkets. Maybe bring luck. Bless your ship. Safe travels. Those things. I have many things like that. He starts opening drawers from his side of the counter, and it's just like filled with various colors of rocks and metals and crystals.
Does anyone want to do a perception check that there's anything in here that actually might have some sort of actual value?
I will allow perception checks to see if there's anything in here, and I will give you a -10 only because there's so many things.
Not me.
Yep. Yep. I think Jace is like, I see a lot of things in those 2 drawers. There's like 50 different rock colors in there. That also is going to be a bad roll. Jesus, 2
Yep.
90s?
Better to get them out of the way on
Yeah,
on
that's
a
fair.
on a minor perception check.
Yeah. Anybody else rolling?
I'm
Looks
giving it a
like
shot.
Warner is
46.
46.
Is that a
Does
success?
that make it?
Let me just check my character. Not at -10.
Yeah, unfortunately -10, just because there's so many there.
Actually, not even close. So
Okay. Winner, Icaros. So you guys making any rolls to see if there's any actual beneficial lucky trinkets?
I can take a shot, I guess.
Sure. Please. What is that? Oof. Another 96. Oh shit, son. Carlos,
There we
you're
go,
you
Icaros.
and I want to imagine. First off, Carlos, do you have any augmetics in like any not visual, vision based augmetics? If not, I have a response. But
No.
Okay, I gotta point out, you asked the blind girl to look around.
Well, if anything here has a presence
that's
in the warper or in the energetically, that would be like you
That
would actually be
that
able
would
to
have
notice
been-
that
yeah.
without a perception check.
Yeah.
I take it none of the rocks are glowing right now.
Not in the immaterium or in the world that Winter sees. Alturios, you don't have any cyber eye type stuff, but do you have at least one of your 2 several skulls floating around with you?
I'd say both of them are, yeah.
Okay. I would like to imagine, and tell me if I'm far out of crazy or whatever if I am wrong, but I imagine you have some sort of wireless network between the 3 of you and your 2 skulls, that allows for some sort of, not necessarily telepathic, but some way to relay some data back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Archimedes actually pings you with something, and he diverts from his usual hovery bobby spot next to you and floats directly over one of the open drawers. And then pings you again when he gets there.
Alright.
Or it gets there, I should say.
I guess I pick up whatever he's being so happy about.
His bobbing is slightly more energetic than normal.
I'd like to think to my eyes that like everyone else is like, oh, it actually moved, and everyone,
Yeah.
to me it's just like, wow, what are you all up in arms about? Like in someone's dog. Like
To us, it looks like normal movement, but Alteros is like, calm down.
Yeah, that's exactly. I think that's exactly what it is. It's just enough of a difference, and it's like it's not following its normal routines. It's just like, all right, what are you up in arms about? What are you so excited about? And when you go over there, you notice that there is a stone that has. It's not a symbol of the Omnissiah, but it is a symbol used in Omnissiac traditions. Some sort of ritual or chanting or something of that sort. But there is a stone. It is, and ironically, it is a blackened metal stone with a red rune carved into it. Red in the color of, the Adeptus Mechanicus red.
Mm-hmm.
Not, red like the corn red.
do I recognize the rune? Is it...
Make me some sort of intelligence or lore. What kind of lore stuff you got? Something scholastic.
I got scholastic lore, astromancy, that's it. I have common lore, tech, and machine cult, but I don't think
that actually, yeah, the machine cult.
All right.
What's your skill level?
Trained.
So it's full. What is that? It's based on intellect, right? Intelligence.
Yeah, it's 58.
58. Go ahead and give yourself a +10 because I imagine you have some sort of whether an actual benefit or based on your own training, you've got some sort of encyclopedic lore file attached.
All right.
And obviously your servo skull's pointing it out, so he knows something. It knows something about it.
So that would be 68. I'll dip a fate point just to make sure
78.
this happens.
Okay.
Watch me roll 90.
That is 2 degrees of success.
Yeah.
This you're not sure what the symbol itself means, but you do recognize that it comes from a string of runes that usually confers a type of blessing in the what's the word I'm going to use here? Allows for the smooth functioning of a new function once it's activated. Is really the best way to phrase it. In mechanics or game terms, the next time you go to make any sort of mechanic type action aboard the ship, whether it's a repair roll, understanding information the ship is telling you, you will have a plus 20 on that roll. So make that note, because I'm going to forget about it in about 14 seconds. That you basically get a plus 20 data interpretation / reroll / repair roll.
So that would be like a investigation or tech use type.
Yep, basically. Make sense for you there, Alturios?
Yeah.
All right.
Just
So yeah, the next time you go to just diagnose, or the next time you do a diagnostic chant or some form of chirurgery in the machine spirit sort of way, you get a plus 20 on it. Anything else here in this shop before we go to the bar that I want to warn you or forewarn you that I also don't have anything for, so it's all off the cuff?
Can I use a fate point on my perception check?
Sure. Instead of using perception, though, why don't you use Cynicians? Your choice. I'll leave it that way. So perception or Cynicians.
Of course I'm going Cynicians.
I would too, because I'm pretty sure your Cynicians is much higher than perception.
I mean, like, Cynicians, science is a perception skill.
Oh, well. Anyway, please, make your fate roll.
Yeah. Okay, there we go.
A 98.
Somehow you rolled higher.
Well, sometimes it just bees that way. No, you can go ahead and burn
like
that symbol.
This is just that sort of night.
Yeah, it's okay. Thankfully for you guys, we don't have any combat or anything going on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, its fate points come back like at the beginning of every session, so I'm not really concerned about randomly spending one. So
yeah.
that was unfortunate.
Yeah.
I mean, I also have 4 of them too, so.
Yeah. Anybody else, or shall we move on?
No, move on.
Okay.
I'm not going to spend mine.
All right. The smoking hole is probably named, you think, as you approach it, for the fact that it is a somewhat round, shaped like a concrete hut with a pillar of smoke coming out from the rounded top near the center. There is a single doorway in and out. It does have one of the 2 Wild West swinging doors. The second one can be seen on the floor, lying flat, several meters to the front of the establishment. As you enter, there is some music playing, but it's kept to a kind of a low volume, meant to be more of a background sound than it is anything live music or stereo system or anything like that. It is not human music at all. There are, weirdly though, the music is giving you various feelings of relaxation, celebration, camaraderie, and every now and again you kind of get it's really cramped, but then it fades.
By the way, since there has been a week between our sessions, I just remembered our navigator is with us as well. I would have introduced her to thee.
Oh, the navigator was with you. Yeah, that's right, she was. Yeah. She's just kind of following along and just keep more or less, playing backup support role. At least until this point. When you enter, there is a bar in the center of the room. It's not a very large place. In fact, I think we're up to like 6 of you now in this little group. You guys can easily sit at each of the 7 or 8 seats here, except that, there's only 1 or 2 in use. The bar is kind of a curved bar. Almost as if it's was meant to be like an island in the middle of the floor space, with one access point for the bartender to come in and out of.
Okay.
Go ahead. You gotta dip out for a second?
No, I can hear somebody eating.
Oh no,
Sorry.
that was Rev making drinks or something. Sounded like.
I just try to remember somebody making a comment about the eating noises bothering them when they were watching the videos.
Yeah.
Let me double check my filters.
Well, I heard it sounded like you were grabbing
mute
something
your
out of a
mic.
bag and then you were mixing something, is what it sounded
Yeah,
like.
I thought I had my mic muted for part of that, but let me go ahead and just turn on my audio filter.
At any rate, there is what appears to be another human similar to Josie running the bar. Inside here are a couple other abhumans. One similar to a ratling, but not quite. Off in one corner talking with another abhuman. And then another one kind of milling at the bar. Looks like he's more just trying to stay with himself. Rev, we can hear you, by the way.
Shouldn't be able to. I turned it on.
I hear you. I hear it.
That's strange. My microphone didn't actually light up on Zoom. I was testing it.
Yeah. It sounded like you were stirring something, but it came through. Probably just because it was close enough to the mic to come through. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, we got the bartender, the one dude at the bar just more or less paying attention to himself and his drink, hunched over the bar, maybe looking at a data slate or something. And then what appears to be a ratling talking to another abhuman off in the corner somewhere. And some background music. And it's also really smoky in here, by the way.
Okay.
Smells like a wood fire.
All right. Well.
How primitive.
How dare they use such primitive technology?
Is there something resembling a bartender behind the?
Yeah, it's an
small
abhuman
bar?
similar to Josie. Instead of being pale, his skin is actually more red, like Sith Star Wars Old Republic red.
Okay. That's a surprising reference that not a lot of people would get. Anyway.
I thought you played Star Wars Old Republic. I know Darius does.
I'm just more familiar with.
I knew exactly what shade of red. I'm like, oh Jesus, he's like a tomato.
Yeah, tomato red is a good phrase.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Another great reference. Anyway,
I approach him and I say, I put a thrown gelt on the bar.
He takes it and bites into it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're going full Western aesthetic now.
Right. Well, if we're going full Western, libations for my friends, good sir, and perhaps some information, if you will.
He pockets the coin, and then holds his hand out. It'll be 2 more of them. I'll get on the drinks. If you want information, that'll cost you, but I don't know shit. I keep my nose down around here. You would too if you knew what was in that tower over yonder. He points to what you now would recognize as the high security portion of the Inquisitorium.
So he's not necessarily talking about the Inquisitor, but those in the high security section.
You can interpret that however you like.
Okay.
He's waiting for you to give him 2 more coins. Because it's 3 coins for the six pints that he's about to pour.
Well, I give him 4 more coins, and I say the information that I seek is fairly simple. If there's any patrons or individuals that you know about with any experience in the founding worlds.
Founding worlds. That's not so far actually. Let me think about that. And he takes 2 of those coins. He sticks them in his pocket. Takes the other 2 coins and sticks them in the till. Grabs some dirty. I shouldn't say they're dirty, but they look a little dusty. Grabs some glasses and starts pouring from the tap. And what comes out is effectively a darkened Pilsner. Is what it looks like. Nice and foamy. He sets them all in the bar and he says, Foundling worlds. Not many people head that way. Somebody said something about that domain just the other side of the Foundling worlds. What was the name of that domain? Brogizi, Broduo, Brodo,
Borgadillo?
Brogadillo, Van Breeze. Something about the Van Breeze domain. I just don't remember. When he says that, now I want you to be clear. What he's saying and what he's otherwise intimating is that he literally does not remember what was said, but just that something was said about the Van Breeze domain. This is not I don't remember, holds my hand out for you to pay me more so I can suddenly remember. This is not that. He's like, literally, I just don't remember what was being said. Somebody was saying something, though.
Well, would you perchance remember who or the company of whom was saying it?
And he finishes pouring the final drink and he sets it down. He says, I don't. It was real. Oh, no. I remember now. Yes. He leans in. It's a real scary woman that come in here. Few months, maybe more back. She didn't say much, but she had a look about her. And then he looks over at Winter. I like that look right there. Ice cold. Cold stare about her. You be careful you come across them. You're not heading to the Van Breeze domain, are you?
I might be.
Be careful out that way. Plenty things and more that'll fuck your world and fuck your ship and fuck your bung, but you get into the Van Breeze domain and it's all on there.
I imagine so. But you said you did remember, so the individual in question, and I pull out my tablet and I go to the folder labeled Mommy Dearest XOXO.
I'm picturing that you actually have a folder on your tab that just says that, and I'm just dying inside right now. Mommy Dearest XOXO. That's amazing.
And I say,
Sorry,
and I hold up a picture. Of course, there's a video and other things, and I probably of her last thing.
Oh,
and I go
from
to
her last message to you or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I go to a freeze frame of said video, and I said, "Is this the woman?"
Oh no, that woman there, I would have loved to have had a conversation with. She seems pleasant to talk to. No, this woman's tall, sharp, dark hair, cold blue eyes. No, you don't talk to her. She fucks you in the brain.
Does that match the description of the woman that we blew up at?
Nope.
Oh.
No, but not. But having eyes kind of implies non-sanctioned.
Do you say that in character?
I'll say in character, I will say no, but she had eyes.
Yeah, she did. And if she wasn't so fucking scary, I might have thought they were pretty, but you can't make anything pretty out of what that package held. That woman is a fright terror.
Did you notice any symbols or any other identifying
Ooh,
marks on
that's
her
a good one.
garments? If
Mm.
so,
Go ahead.
you may not be able to. I said, could you draw something akin to them or describe them as best you're able?
You.
I draw a crude symbol of the fell hand rose.
Oh yeah,
And
when he sees that, he shakes his head. It's like, no, not with the fell hound. Excuse me, the fell hand. I haven't had any custom from any of his people in many a month, if not a year or more. No, this lady, she bore a different symbol, and he taps his finger on his chin for a moment. He sketches something. It's difficult to make out, but what you do realize is that you need to make some sort of okay, if this is Pendragon, it'd be a heraldry roll, but I can't think of what it is in this game.
Something to do with peer nobility.
Possibly. Well, the skill I'm looking for specifically is recognizing this symbol that he's drawing, or
I
the
have
signage.
scholastic lore cryptography.
I'll give you a -20 on that, only because of the not
I
even
also
close to
have
direct.
common lore Koronus Expanse.
Ooh, that's a good one. I'll give you that one at -10.
well, I don't know if it would fall.
Well,
How
okay.
much
Actually,
plus?
hold on. Before we go any
How
further,
much plus?
give me 1 second, Radance. There's a reason why you would might recognize this, and the best I'm coming up with is either just an awareness or a straight intelligence test, but it's gonna be at -10 because of the way in this relevance works. You've seen this thing before, but it's hard to recognize from what you saw and what he's sketching. So that you got to make
Does
the.
it have
Okay.
anything to do with the Xenos?
No, not that you can tell.
Okay,
But
so
it-
I'm gonna read my list of knowledges real quick.
Okay.
Is it forbidden lore, psyker, or warp?
No.
Scholastic lore, cryptography, or occult?
No.
And then my trained common lores are Astra Telepathica, Koronus Expanse, and Administratum.
Koronus Expanse, but you get a -10.
Cool. How much plus to the check do I get if I use a fate point to improve my
will,
check?
A fate point will cancel that -10.
Cool. That means I'm rolling on a 47.
Mm-hmm.
I spend the fate point.
Okay. Would you like to re-roll that?
Cool. I'll spend a second fate point.
Okay. That looks like success. Okay.
I lean over and then I tell you, I telepathically say what I saw.
Okay,
I don't talk out loud.
I don't recall what symbology I actually assigned, but when you took that gear from the pirates, they had a symbol that had been worn down a bit. It was recognized by Thale as the symbol for House Hannet. And this is, or what appears to be, a similar sign, or could be the actual sign for House Hannet.
The ones who hired the pirates.
Yes.
Lovely.
Well, I was actually considering when I said that I wrote down the thing for the fell hand, I was going to write down the House Hannet symbol next.
Mm-hmm. And that was how you knew the relevance, was because you had seen like a worn down or faded symbol, but what he's drawing is a more, I guess, accurate version, so the connection wouldn't necessarily be there right away.
Well,
I need to come up with this imagery for you, so I'm gonna have to figure that out.
As they were a rival and in the major history of our house, it's a symbol I would know without having. I would know more than just the faded markings.
Yeah, at this point, no, you're right. You would recognize it kind of quick. It would be basically a "do you remember from your teachings" something. You know what I mean? At this point, I did forget about that part, that you would have had some history lessons, so to speak. But yeah, this is the symbol for House Hannet, and it is a symbol that, frankly, I'm gonna have to come up with next time I prep. I don't have anything ready for you right now on that. But this guy is drawing it, and he says that the woman that he's referring to had that symbol on her. And she is, in short, out of character. She is a fucking cold-hearted, murdering bitch. Don't and she just gives him straight up the heebie-jeebies anytime she's around. She is a scary motherfucker, and potentially psyker of some sort.
So it would appear that House Hannon and the Fell Hand are both after, or House Fell are both after our elusive treasure ship.
Are you saying that in character?
It's probably a thought I have in my head, and I would share with the crew once you're back on the ship and had a degree of privacy.
Yeah, because if you say that in front of him, well, I have a response planned, but I wanted to clarify.
Yes, I would not use the words treasure ship in front of a barkeep.
Yeah, that's a great way to get that information spread all over. Planting false rumors works just as well. For those watching at home.
I do say that you could always mention the fact that those people like hiring pirates and, psyop them into irritation.
I mean, it's also
ruin
the
their
truth,
reputation.
so...
Well, given that the people in this sector would likely hire on as pirates, it would be more of a, we can work with these people.
Yeah, and let's not forget the fact that people come through this part of town specifically looking for aliens to go blow shit up for them.
Mm-hmm.
At any rate. Yeah, so the bartender, he sketches and he says, this is what she wore, and I don't know what you're about, but I'd give this lady a long 1,000-meter passing room. I wouldn't go anywhere near her if I could help it.
So to clarify above table, because it's I want to make sure that what I was asking is understood.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't asking if they knew of anyone in that sector. I was asking if they knew of any of the abhumans or xenos that were currently residing in the Xenosium that had experience with that sector of space.
You're looking for taking on some recruits, maybe?
Someone who might be knowledgeable about the area or have potential contacts in the region.
No, I don't think so. He looks around and he sees that other than you guys, there's like basically 3 other customers and they're not really wanting anything. He's like, time's slow. Maybe come back around during the rush, but well, frankly, the rush is really erratic. It's not like every day. You might find some then, but these folk here, they're just locals. I don't get a lot of people through here. This is the closest thing to a bar in this part of the station, but I'm rambling again. What you're looking for information or recruits or something, yeah?
Yes. But as far as there isn't such a thing as collect calling, is there?
That'd be really weird. I feel like no, in 40K universe, you get billed for the call, not the recipient.
Yeah, so I was does the bartender have some sort of Vox device? Technology is going to be limited here.
He looks at you and he says, if you need to get a hold of me, the best way really is just to come on down here and say hi. But I can give you this. And he takes that same thing he drew the Hanet symbol on, and he writes a number. He says, this is the number for the trinket shop over yonder. Josie can run a message if you need something. Give him a few extra minutes to get back and forth. Do you?
Actually, I take, since I'm pretty sure Voxes are super common amongst us.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and for the Rogue Trader? Yeah, I'm sure you can replace Vox easily.
I'm setting one down.
I'll offer you my Vox.
Oh, much obliged.
I set it down on the counter, or I gesture for him to set it down, either way.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I say, please, if let it be known to your patrons, if any of them have experience with the Founding Worlds, I will probably be leaving after this evening. If in that time someone crosses through your door with such experience, I wish to know about it. And there will be additional payment for you as a finder's fee in such an
Finder's
event.
fee. I like the sound of that, but I gotta warn you, I don't think we're gonna get too much more custom today. But I'll take your offer in kind. I will keep this on hand, and if ever you come back this way, I would appreciate more of your customs.
I do have one additional question. I have heard that there were a larger number of Kroot
Oh,
in the Xenosium,
yes.
and that they are no longer here. Do you have any further information regarding when they left or whom they left with?
They left a few months or more ago. I don't know. They didn't all just up and leave, like one might think of the group they left. Large group here, small group there. It was a little weird now that I think about it, but they all the same, they all left within a few days.
Did they leave with that woman?
No, the woman left a year ago. It's been like a year or more since the last time I thank the good lords above, and the lords below, and the lords beside. Because I forgot he may not worship the god emperor.
So he gives us a general date as to when they left.
So the last time he's seen the Kroot was like a few months ago. The lady that he had referred to earlier was like a year ago.
Right. But so approximately 6 months, within like a week or so.
It would have been more like 4 or 5.
Okay. Well, so one other thing I'm going to be doing is calming the Thule. You said it was Thule?
Thale.
Not Thale. Thale's my
yes, Thale's your seneschal. Was there another similar name that I'm forgetting? The ship. Sorry?
The liege of the station.
Oh, Moros.
I thought he had
Tithes Moros.
Moros. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would be radioing his office and saying I would be asking for any berthing or docking records from that period. I'm curious to see what ship may have taken the Kroot off the station. I don't say that. I just ask for the docking records from that period.
Yeah, I think what you get back is a message directing you to either speak with or send a message to Emil Astris. The docks are his purview. Is really what it boils down to, the response you get. Hang on one quick second, though.
Sorry if I'm being a bit wordy about this. I just want to get as much intelligence as possible.
No worries.
That was more to the crew of not having much to do.
Unfortunately, this is almost the nature of this game, is they kind of follow you around a little bit. Yeah. Until I start giving them more stuff individually, which I'm trying to do, but at any rate, yeah, so you get a message back from Tithes Moros, or whatever his name is, and it says, something along the lines of, check with Emil Astris, the dockyards are his area. And then, so the weird lady with the eyes and the freaky disposition is about a year or so ago, and the Kroot leaving were somewhere between 3 to 5 months ago.
Well, that was a year ago, and I know who she is, vaguely. I suppose I could ask for the name of the ship, just to confirm it's who I think it is.
Who do you think it is? I'm curious now.
I think it's the rogue. It's either the rogue trader or the a psyker in the service of said rogue trader. In which case, it would be House Hannet's primary ship, which I'm sure I would have knowledge of as a rival house
of them, but you wouldn't know a lot in the way of particulars.
We kicked them off our planet and they hate us.
That was like a
Knowing what
generation
their-
ago, or maybe even 2 generations ago.
Yes, but knowing what their primary ship was
Yeah.
or is
yeah.
would be fairly pertinent.
That's true. Yeah.
At the very least, it would be in my mother's records on House Handed, because knowing whose ship is with whose is something she would have wanted to know too.
Yeah. But you know who would have a copy of that or access to it? He's back on the ship right now, coordinating all sorts of shit for you.
The Seneschal would, but I'm sure it would also be in her office, now mine.
Yeah, there's that. There is that.
Under the Rolodex of Hannett.
under her wiki page links of these are the people that are trying to kill me.
Well, remember, a lot of things like that are actually physical and not
No,
digital.
I know. I was being facetious when I said all of that. Yeah. So, the bartender introduces himself as Bartholus, but you can call him Talus. Talus, sorry. I was gonna use my oldest son's name, and then I realized how uncouth that might actually be if he becomes a more recurring character. So his name is Thalus, Bartholus. Call him Thalus. And
I'll call him Barty.
But you can call him Barty if you want. I definitely did not make the name Bartholus off the top of my head because he was the bartender.
Right.
Nice.
That totally did not happen. I promise you. But yeah, he says, in short, he takes your Vox that you've offered him, and he says, if anybody happens to come in, I'll spread your name to them, or whatever. But otherwise, thanks for coming in, and enjoy the drinks and whatever else you want to do before you go fuck off somewhere.
I put down a handful more of gelt,
Mm-hmm.
and I say, if any other humans or people from outside the Xenosium come asking about anyone heading into the Founding Worlds, matching my or some member of my crew's description, would you so kindly tell them, and I can't read this stupid map.
Yeah, unfortunately, not everything resolved correctly or well. Ping it.
Is that so? Salvar, is that 2 or 3? I can't tell because of the lines on the map.
Where are you?
In the Founding Worlds. Close to
Oh
the
yeah,
warp storm.
Salvar 3. It looks like.
Okay.
A dead world or unspecified.
Mm-hmm. Please tell them that we. I said I'm always up for good sport. Please tell them that we are headed to Salvar 3.
Yes, I've seen this trick once or twice. I know how this works. Salvar 3, and he actually writes it down on what looks like a cocktail napkin, but it's not napkin-y. It's more papery. Salvar 3, yes. He chuckles to himself because he thinks it's amusing.
Well, it affords him a layer of protection too, as I'm sure he's aware. If someone puts a gun to his head and said, "What world did the previous rogue trader go to?" he could say, "They told me Salvar 3,"
Mm-hmm.
and they have no choice but to believe him.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's all he can say because that's the only thing you've said outside of the Foundling Worlds.
Mm-hmm. But I'm affording him a layer of plausible deniability as well as a mislead.
Yeah. All right, where to next?
So far as I know, making sure we have a nice meal set up for the lady in.
I'm sure at some point you would have messaged Marcellus Thale to let him know that dinner was going to be a big thing and that we had guests of honor coming.
I would ask for any information about the leadership of House. What did you say?
Hannett.
I nearly said Hada, but that's not it. Hannett.
Hannett. It's when you ask for that, Thale actually says, Lord Captain. Excuse me, let me get his voice. Lord Captain, it would perhaps be better if we had a private aside to discuss that particular house. We've talked briefly about them in the past, but I feel as though you have come across more information and I may need to provide more answers.
This is not necessarily I'm asking for information over the radio.
Mm-hmm.
I am asking him to prepare a dossier for me to review on board the ship.
Very well. I will present it to you on your, well, not so much your arrival. When you return, Lord Captain, if you could, please come see me in your solar. I will have your information and a bevy of drinks if you like.
Yes. Well, I believe I will permit the crew to do a little bit of shopping, and then we shall return.
As you say, Lord Captain. That sounds like acquisition rolls.
It does.
All right. Rodance, you've been quietly patient all night. What would you like to attempt to acquire?
I mean, I already have my knife that I was really super fond of.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I legitimately am not sure what I should go for.
Do you have conversion fields, perhaps? I'm only throwing that out because my character in Imperium Maledictum would like to get his hands on one. I don't know how the frequency and all that stuff works out for that.
Do we have grenades or anything fun like that I can get?
There are a wide variety of grenades. Tell me, do you want something that incapacitates? Do you want something that immolates? Do you want something that
I don't know. What
fragments?
would you and our dearly beloved, I like shooting things, gentlemen over there, like to have, because I plan to buy them and then just hand them to you.
Okay. Grenades that have. Oh, actually, what grenades? I know that you've acquired some grenades, Warner. What were they?
Yeah, I have the Tanglefoot grenades.
Oh, nice. Is that literally what I think it is? An entanglement spell wrapped inside a grenade?
It is. I throw this thing and it basically turns on a gravity field that makes everybody.
Yes. Amazing.
Open the door, get on the floor, and do the dinosaur.
Wow, what a callback. Go for it. That was amazing.
But yeah, I don't have anything I particularly can think of that I want for my character in particular, and I know that the others could use grenades, and that's a consumable. So,
well,
it's not like I can buy healing potions, you know.
I not to spill beans here. I do know that Warner was hoping to acquire something for the group. But it's not the easiest role. Warner, would you want someone? Do you want to hold on to your role, Rodance, and see if Warner is successful at his or not?
Sure. I mean, I'm cool with that. I don't have any items I particularly want for myself, so I was gonna roll for something for the group, and because I don't know what the group needs right at the moment, I don't see if I can't see how I can make the roll right now.
Okay. Well, in that case, Warner, you have also been patiently quiet. What would you like to attempt to acquire?
I would like to acquire subskin armor for the group.
Okay. Subskin. So we're talking something subcutaneous, huh?
Yeah, the description is on page 151 of the PDF, the core book.
Okay, so 151.
And the page 153 of the PDF has the chart with the rarity, which says that it is very rare.
Okay. +2 armor to arms, body, and legs. Automatically stacks. Very rare, you said?
Very rare.
So it's -20. You're looking for a squad, so it's +20.
Yep.
And then I imagine at least common, if not more.
It is common.
Okay.
Well, no.
I'm sorry, as far as craftsmanship.
It's very rare. Yeah, the craftsmanship, I'm not... There's no benefit to getting...
Good or best?
You know, good or best, at least as far as I can read.
All right.
It's strictly... It's strictly... Like, for example, one of my wish list things is the same thing at a higher rarity, but that's strictly for RP reasons, so...
Yeah.
But I will settle for that for now.
Sure. All right, go ahead and make your roll against a 47 or a 57 if you want to put a fate point on it.
Yep, I'll throw a fate point at it.
Okay. Let me switch the screen. Oh, it's too late. Roll. It's fine. Success!
Yay!
Everybody gets to add +2 armor to arms, body, and legs.
Subskin armor.
Making a note.
I actually need to make a note too, because that means... I'm assuming you got one for Thale and the Navigator? You can say no, of course.
Well, I was getting 5, so
Okay,
the
that would be the 5 of
the
you and not the
5
2
of
NPCs.
us.
That's fine.
Because
Sub
the
in armor.
just
It's a +2 armor to which body parts again?
Arms, body, and legs.
Everything but head.
yes,
There's a separate cybernetic implant to give you head armor, and it's kind of silly.
it's only 1 as well. So I figured this was more generically useful to everything.
Okay.
In which case, would you like some recommendations for grenades or other items for the group Rodans?
Yes, we're back
Yes,
to Rodan.
please.
Inferno grenades are hilarious and wonderful, but dangerous.
Yeah, that's why I'm always
I mean, is
planning
there
on
a
handing them
safe
to the
grenade?
weapon.
Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me.
Okay, so where's my okay ranged weapon table? No.
It's under it's under a separate table. Now,
Yeah.
if
keep
you
going.
want, there is the conversion. If you want something for yourself, there is the conversion field, which I have one of, and it's basically a 50% chance to block incoming damage, and and if you get it at common, a 10% chance to fail after blocking said shot. And you don't get to use it again until we've gone back to the ship and run a repair on it. Alternatively,
So what is that really ridiculous scope that's hard for people to get?
Omniscope.
yes, that an omniscope.
Does
But it's-
anyone need one?
Need no, but want absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Waiting
it's
for that.
it's on a want list
Okay.
for a number of us.
So okay,
I've got
so
one.
what check do I need to roll for a one of a near unique item?
All right, so near
So-
unique is minus 50, but one single
Is-
makes that a minus 20.
minus 20, yeah.
And then common craftsmanship, I should say, is 0. So you're looking at a 27% chance to get one.
Okay.
Again, and then obviously a fate point
I'm
can
gonna
add
roll
10.
for that. That seems like that would be entertaining if I
Okay.
got one, because I don't use a gun for the most part. So
Yeah, well, even if you added a fate point,
Can
that
I-
was-
Before you do that,
Yeah,
there is something.
go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, it's we could use a Navis Prima. I had
Okay.
forgotten.
what is a Navis Prima?
It helps our navigator with warp checks.
Is
Oh
that
dear
in?
God, yes.
Is that in the Navis Primer, or is that in Into the
That
Storm?
is in the primary book. It is under table. It's under tools. It might actually be in the I'm looking at the chart that I put together where it doesn't differentiate between book. It might also be in the. Hold on, I sent everybody some clips of it a couple weeks ago, so I can actually find it quick. The information about it quicker that way. So.
Navis Prima, very rare. Cool. How much is one very rare item?
Yeah, 1 second. I'm
Very
looking for the
rare.
description.
Very rare is minus 20, and one of them is negligible, so it'd be at a plus 10.
Cool. Let me
But
check if I need to
Let me
upgrade its quality.
Yeah, that's what I was going to check on the description.
Yeah, it needs to be best craft.
Okay, so that's an additional.
All right, so best craft is minus 30. 1 is plus 30, so that's 0. And then what was the availability?
Very rare.
Very rare. So minus 20. So yeah, that's also a 27 without the fate point on it.
Are we
Cool.
considering the planet we're on?
So
Doesn't that give a bonus or
Uh,
penalty?
it might, but what I will default my answer to is it's allowing for you to roll for anything that would otherwise be available.
okay, cool.
Based on rarity.
I rolled a 65, so that fails. So I'll use my last fate point for the day to reroll.
Okay. That is a success.
Cool.
Holy
Yay!
frickin' crap.
Best craft Navis Primer.
Okay.
I think that our navigator will be very pleased with you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let me
You have
add
made
it
a
to
friend
my-
for life.
So best craft Navis. Oh, get out of here.
That's plus 20 to checks, by the way.
Yes.
Plus 20 to navigation stellar checks. Stellar.
Navigation stellar?
Yeah.
Yes, so Navis Prima, these are perhaps the most valuable items an explorer can possess, as they outline safe routes in the warp, or at least safe as warp travel can get. Some cover jump locations and travel times known to many, but others can reveal translations, timetable plots known only to a few, who guard their secrets of their lives. Even rarer are those presumed lost, describing jump passages, blah 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 blah. These items are exceptionally rare, and the goals of lifelong pursuits to chase down the faintest rumor of such a map. Common craft examples of this item gain no bonus, but good craftsman primers gain a plus 10, and best crafted gain a plus 20 to all navigation stellar tests.
Give me just a second. So navigation stellar.
She should be making navigation checks, I think, as part of her warping.
She's making navigation warp tests. That's where I'm getting hung up. Navigation stellar would be movement through the stellar spaces.
But this specifically talks about jump points, safe routes through the warp.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, that makes... I'm just going to call it navigation warp.
Yeah, it
would
could
make
just
sense.
have been a mistype.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like based on
quality control doesn't always
control the quality.
Well, it actually makes sense that it's both.
Yeah.
Because it's talking about different types of travel through space.
Yeah. I'll go with plus 20 navigation warp.
One moment.
Well then.
Well, while he's figuring that out, Alterios, is there anything you're looking for? For Icarus.
I didn't actually...
You say another serval skull. The other two are gonna look at you and go, "What?"
I did not have anything in mind for an acquisition role.
Okay. Do you have a want list you're trying to fill?
Not really. Like, actually, there might have
if you don't have anything, you don't have anything. I'm not gonna push the issue. I'm just curious and making sure before we move on.
There's probably a mechadendrite, I think, on the list there.
He is a Mechanicus. There's always some sort of
that's right.
Last
time I went for the utility mechadendrite, and I failed that roll. So let's try that again.
That sounds right. All right, talk to me about your modifiers as I try to remember what page that was on in the book, because I was just there a minute ago and now I left.
I don't remember what the book is.
47. Nope, that's not right. Hold on one second. Position tests. So close in my head, really.
Sorry about that. In short, someone's family member may have been defrauded by a scam, and they were asking for my advice.
Oops. That's horrendous. All right, talk to me about these modifiers, starting with your availability.
I'm trying to find
Alterios.
I'm trying to find him again. Hold on.
Yep.
What's going on now? Sorry, I obviously was on the phone.
What's
happening?
Navigation warp plus 20 for the Navis Primer, and then the Alterios is attempting to find his utility mechadendrite modifiers.
Okay.
Very.
Well, you said availability modifiers, and I thought you were meaning him being available for the game, and I was worried for a second.
Nope.
That was very rare.
Very rare is minus 20. Individually plus 30, so a total of plus 10. And then craftsmanship, I believe we were going with common because it didn't really specify or make much difference. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
All right. If that's the case, then you have a 57 you're rolling against, unless you want to add 10 from a fate point to make it 67.
Yeah, why not? Let's do that again, even though it didn't help me last time.
Yeah, 67. Whenever you're ready.
I have a couple of things I'm considering. Omar,
It is a success. Go ahead and add that utility mechadendrite. What specifically does that do? As you
it's a plus 10
step off in the middle of your guys' perusal of the Xenosium to go get a mechadendrite attached to your back.
Well, we're all
10 to all tech use.
It's a party augment. We're all getting subskin armor while we're there.
Oh yes, yeah, just like everybody going to get tattoos at the same time.
But I would ask, since we're about to get a new
Duck.
seneschal,
Okay.
that if we get, and this is at the GM's discretion, but if we give subskin armor to our current seneschal, would you benefit us with that? Our next seneschal already has said augment.
I think that can be resolved in a conversation with Marcellus Thale when you return to the ship. And then I will GM handwave appropriately as needed so that your seneschal has subcutaneous armor or subskin armor.
In short, yes.
Yeah, basically. But there's a couple of layers but there's some shit that I need done to, figure that out. And that really does involve a conversation that Thale wants to have with you.
Can we at least get his at a discount?
I'll.
If we're gonna put subskin armor on it, I want it to be on Thale.
Well, Thale will have the subskin armor, and if you choose to go with a new
Omar.
seneschal, yeah.
Omar.
Uh-huh.
If we get subskin armor for him, I want it to be on Thale.
Okay. Well, I hear you. Thale has subskin armor now. Done.
At a discount. Okay. At a discount.
Nope. You're not paying anything anyway.
Yes,
So-
because it's on Thale.
Moving on. Darius. Is Jace
Yes.
looking for anything in particular besides me trying not to throttle the shit out of Rev?
Shut
Yes, he is.
With
quite a
with
few things.
bad Sylvester the Cat references.
Yeah. What are you looking for?
Sucks.
Well, I think first I'm going for a. Let's see.
Not to be that guy, but are you getting what we discussed previously or something else?
Not to be
That's
that
what
guy.
I'm
proceeds to be
debating.
that guy.
What we discussed previously, does it have best, better, common?
I don't believe so. Give me a moment to double check.
What book is it in?
I believe it is in the Rogue Trader Core rulebook. And it's gonna be under.
What is it? Why is this a secret? Why is this a surprise? Just tell me what it is.
No.
Okay. I guess that's a way to play that game.
Okay.
think
No,
it-
it's
you
an
can't
item called
have it.
No.
Yeah, I think it's under. Tools. Hold on. I have to scroll there. It is under tools. It is the very top of the tool list. It does not appear to have, the description does not say anything about a difference.
That sounds like common.
Okay. Yep, common.
Okay.
So, what's its rarity?
Extremely rare.
Minus 30. Are we getting a thing for one person?
Yes.
Okay, so that's canceled out with the plus 30. So it looks like you're rolling against a 47 or a 57 if you're going to drop a fate point.
I am definitely going to be dropping a fate point. The
Right.
question is, do I want to get a set of silencers instead?
That only you can answer.
How often do you feel like silencing things is going to be important to you?
That's a good
Well,
question. Really.
apparently, las pistols don't need a silencer.
I mean, it is a las gun. The only report that happens is from the excited air going crack.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can put a suppressor on. It
Yeah,
melts the
and
suppressor.
I'm not sure off the top of my head how Rogue Trader rules work. Imperium Maledictum, certain guns have the loud trait, and silencers cancel the loud trait. I assume there's a similar mechanic in play here. So at the end of the day, it's a matter of is a set of silencers really necessary for the number of weapons that have that trait, or something similar?
In this game, I believe I remember the description correctly. It gives a negative to some degree of any nearby enemies to detect
So it's
through
almost
perception the fact that he fired it.
yeah. So that's almost a niche situational driven thing, whereas this other
Okay.
thing might be more generic use or general use.
Then it's a toss-up between Psi Crystal, Best Conversion Field, Lock Pattern, or the thing that we talked about.
Okay.
Well, you'll have an acquisition roll next week or next session, because after we finish these acquisition rolls, we're going to be wrapping. So
Okay. Then I will.
if that helps make your decision a little bit easier or faster.
I will roll for the thing that we discussed.
Love how these guys are just super secretive with what they want to roll.
So very.
So this thing I discussed is it extremely common? You can just give it.
So 57 with a fate point.
Yep.
All right, make your roll, sir. Don't know why that one die flipped off the table there, but that's a success. What did you just acquire that you refused to tell me until now?
Almanac Astrae Divinitas for piloting.
Okay. Give me a page number so I can know what that description is.
That is on page 143 of the primary core rulebook, or 144 as the PDF.
Okay.
It is just below table 5-15.
A tech device in the Divine Astrometricum, a Calixian faction of tech priests concerned with cataloging stars, nebulae, and distant events in the voids. Its clicking arrangement of spheres and hololithic projections form a catalog of sorts, which is of use to those who make their way between stars. Provides a +10 to navigation, pilot, scholastic lore, astromancy, or trade astrographer tests where its information is directly relevant to the circumstance. Okay, well, that seems pretty relevant because, yep, reasons.
So I believe now on most of our navigation checks we have a +30 due to those two acquisitions.
Let me see, that last one, does it...
No, that I got mine for piloting.
Yeah. Well, I think this...
It's for both.
I think this covers everything it lists based on the situation.
Oh.
It's because this is almost like a ye old farmer's almanac. If in this particular moment, whatever this moment may be, information from the almanac is
No, it says lore astromancy or trade astrographer, but it's astrographer, dadgummit. But it's referring to when the or is because those two tests may be used if relevant. The others are just the bonus.
Okay.
That's how I read it.
Yeah,
you disagree, Omar?
I feel like it can, any of those can apply if the situation dictates. So in other words, using the Farmer's Almanac as a reference, and I may be using some terms a little bit loosely here. The Farmer's Almanac can give you an idea of what the weather might be like, when a good time to plant a certain crop is, when you might want to harvest that crop, various other notes about different things for different things. And I feel like whenever you go to do something that this has scope over, then that +10 modifier applies.
Right. Well, this is the Farmer's Almanac. The Farmer's Almanac was a mechanical orrery.
Well, yeah. Obviously, this is not just a book. This is got dials and shit on it. So I got that part. I'm actually picturing something like a solar system mobile.
So I went with that because if I didn't get it, I could try again next week.
Yeah.
But if I did get it, then I could go after one of my other things.
Yeah. Well, it would definitely help, like, for instance, warp encounters that involve you piloting the ship to get away from it. So, you got +10 to that.
It's just some kids like 6th grade astronomy homework.
It could be. It could be. I'm picturing that model or whatever in, if you ever watch Pitch Black.
Oh, yeah.
With, oh, Jesus. Why can't I think of his name now? Vin Diesel. Yeah. Yeah. And they're like, oh, but what happens every...
Riddick.
What happens at... Yeah, Riddick. The very first Riddick movie.
You would be referring to vehicle identification number Diesel.
Yes.
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 Diesel vehicle identification number.
Yep.
The
Okay.
arbiter is also an
I
add-on.
believe that's everybody. Am I right? No, Rev still needs to make a roll.
Right. I was actually saving my roll for if somebody failed.
Yeah. Okay.
I would be able to make up ground. However, I have an item I wish to purchase, not necessarily for myself, but it's also going to give you a headache.
Why am I not
Because,
fucking surprised?
as the rules read, it is a combination of several components.
Of course.
But some of those components are rarer than the item roll itself.
Okay, give me the page number for this item.
Okay, it's actually on the same page you were just on.
I already moved away and I don't remember the page. Oh,
Okay,
144.
page 144.
Okay.
It is listed as Servitor Combat.
Hold on.
Now, there are such items that are very rare or more so that are listed as possible objects included with it on the page that it tells you to go to, which the page that lists the components of it or potential components
more complex
of
and
it.
specialized servitors are less common and have correspondingly more rare availabilities. See page 374 for details. But then I guess when you go there, it says, and there's that.
Right, it
Nothing
doesn't
else.
list any rarities. So what I was asking, if for simplicity's sake, there is a combining objects rule set. And that is if, for example, you want to get a rifle with a scope on it, and the scope is more rare than the rifle, you take the rarity of the scope and you add a +5. And you add a +5 for each additional item.
So
combined.
here's what I'm thinking might be an easier way to do it to save some headache all around. Your Servitor Combat is a rare item. Any specific equipment you want to put on there, like a plas rifle or I'm sorry, Hellgun, I think is the word I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And if its rarity is different, you just make a separate acquisition roll for that.
Okay, well then what I would ask is that it comes, let me get, what page was the details? I forgot.
It was like 147, I think, PDF. I think.
Was it only 147? I thought it was much later. It was like 2 something.
The servitor is 146.
Yeah, servitor is
147 of the PDF.
Yeah, 147 PDF.
No, the detailed description. So
Oh,
that
374.
Yeah, that's book page 374. So probably 375 PDF.
Yeah, sorry, my thing was set to the wrong thing, so I couldn't see the page number. So three what now? I knew it was 3 something.
I just looked at it. 347, 374,
374. So 375 is the PDF.
Okay, yes. So what I'm asking then, I guess, is if we are getting a combat servitor, we are going to want to add other things to it, but can we pick something fairly basic like to be its generic weaponry?
Yeah, I mean like a las gun. Are you talking about like? I'm sorry.
Okay, it's got a whole bunch of potential options for either side. So, for example, I think probably the most basic option on the melee weapons side would be like a servo fist, from looking at the description. And then...
Oh god, there's a lot of fucking options here.
Right. And then on the... because one arm is melee and one arm is essentially no arm, just a weapon. And so on the...
heavy bolter on there.
So the heavy bolter is actually more rare than the rest of it. So
to make this
so
easier
I was say,
and
could
try
we get
to
an auto gun or a hell? Could we get an auto gun or a hell gun as the basic weapon on it?
I tell you what. Okay, so hang on.
If I'm making the default rare roll.
Yeah. If you're with the rarity of the combat servitor and wanting a basic weapon like the hell gun or what have you on there, and it's just a rarity. If you want something more specific or more boomier.
Well, to be fair, my end goal is to have a servitor with a heavy bolter on it.
Right.
Combat servitor.
Yeah. So in that case it would be make the servitor roll now and then next week make the heavy bolter roll. and then have a
Okay.
tech use somewhere to match it all up.
Well,
Because that's the kind of way I see that
Yeah.
happening.
well, so okay. Well, once we acquire the parts, I'm going to step back in. So just so that Alturios can be thinking about this, I'm going to ask Alturios, or I'm going to ask Icarus. My character's going to ask Icarus, would he like the combat servitor as his attendant, or should it be mine?
Ooh, that's a good question, Icaros. Your omniscience inner
it's-
voice is saying things like, "Why would I let him have control of my machine?"
Yes, I am offering it as a gift. Is essentially, should I pass the roll?
I'm not sure at the moment. Give me that. Give me a week to think about that. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Rough.
All right. So lost my train of thought. I'm making a rare roll
Mm-hmm.
at a -10, a negligible roll at a +30.
Yep. So we're at +20 right now. And then
And
quality.
there is,
Go ahead.
since you're not giving me anything, there's no reason to, like I was going to say, did you want to use quality to determine what it has on it? Or
You
did
know
you
what?
Want to use the
Hold on.
+5?
So we're at 67 right now. If my math is holding.
Yes.
I'll tell you what. At 47, you can get one that comes with the heavy bolter,
Okay.
but nothing else that you might want or are looking.
Okay.
Like literally, it's a heavy bolter on one side, and then the other arm is just an arm.
Okay.
In
Well,
hand.
I'll boost that back to a 57 with a fate point.
Okay. I'm sure someone there watching this might be like, either I'm being too generous, or they're gonna hit me with, that's not how that works.
Well, technically, if you want to do it the complicated way, as the book rules state, it should be I think the heavy bolter is very rare, so it should be a very rare roll +5 or -5 in this case for the rare servitor attachment. The servitor literally would become the cheaper attachment.
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
heavy
I see what
bolter,
you're saying.
which is ironic in my mind.
Yeah, but
Um,
the way the rules are written, yeah, that makes sense. But also,
Mhm.
yeah, you're getting a heavy bolter with a servitor attached to it.
Essentially.
Correct.
Buy a heavy bolter and get a free slave for free.
Yeah, really. Buy my guns. I'll give you someone to
Well,
shoot them.
since we are, I'm going to say this above table as part of your thinking.
Mhm.
Since we are getting this as a parts kit, essentially, and not a full servitor, I'm also going to suggest that you go pull Mr. Fell off of toilet scrubbing duty and turn him into your own personal battle valet. Alterios, if that sweetens the pot for you or gives you something to think
Oh,
about.
that's right. We have him just doing shit around the.
Yeah, I mean, he's just
Literally.
your basic.
Quite literally.
He's your basic labor servitor right now.
Okay, so I'm rolling off of 57 if I can remember where the tabletop thing is, because I've got like 18 windows up right now.
I know that feeling.
Why is it rolling one die off of
I
the...
have no idea, but that's a 99. Would you like to re-roll that?
I would in fact like to re-roll that. I don't think I've rolled below an 80 today.
That is a miss by 0.06, I believe, if my math works.
Mm-hmm.
Which is unfortunate. But you'll have another episode.
Drats. I couldn't find one with a heavy bolter. I'll settle for that. I'm kidding.
That's not how
Because
that works.
it would succeed. It would have succeeded at getting a regular one. Dang it.
Yeah. Yeah, because 67 would have been the final on just a straight Hellgun based combat servitor. Alright, I believe that is everything. And I think that means that's everything for us here tonight. So let me get to that part. When we come back next session, we will be doing a light dinner scene, even though it'll probably be, the dinner itself would be a regular several course dinner and everything. But I think for the RP scene, it'll be a handful of things, and then most likely heading off into the warp after another round of acquisition rolls. So, what the fuck am I hearing outside? Nothing that I can do anything about. Let's talk about some feedback.
Also, if anybody complains while they're getting the augmetic surgery for the subskin armor, Reinhardt is going to loudly say, "Toughen up! That's the whole reason you're getting this augmentation."
Stop whining. That's why we're giving you armor, because you're a whiner.
Well, I'm thrilled at the plus 30 to navigation that we walked away with tonight.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
is
by the
pretty
way,
excellent.
I spent the experience points that I had on Thale and Mercator. So I'm pretty sure I bumped her. I don't remember what I bumped the things that applied to navigating through the warp and shit. So
Hooray!
so she may have something like a net 50 gain or some dumb shit like that.
Yay.
That would be most excellent.
Yeah. Warner, why don't you start us with some feedback and other outro-y bits?
I am going to be perfectly honest with you. I tried as best I could in my ADD-ridden state to pay attention, but my mind was here and there for much of tonight.
That's
But I did
understandable.
have fun where I could.
Well, that's good. Yeah, unfortunately, you didn't really do hardly anything, I think, this whole entire session.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, I
There
didn't.
was combat.
There
I
wasn't any
was hoping.
combat?
I was hoping we'd have a bar fight, but
It's all right.
I think the whole idea that you
I got
guys
to
had was to
snark.
go into the Synozium to find an orc and to fuck him up. And I was like, no, let's just not go into the Synozium. It doesn't really have. And then you're like, well, we're going into the Synozium. I'm like, well, I don't have anything planned. And you're like, nope, we're going into the Synozium. All right, I guess we're going into the Synozium. I'm going to make everything up off
I
the
made
cuff.
it very clear that I was going to the Synozium seeking intel for like 3 weeks now.
You have, and you gained some intel. Whether or not it was intel you were looking for, that remains to be seen. So there is that. Warner, we took over a little bit there. Please resume whatever else you might have to say.
I was just gonna say I got the opportunities to snark a couple of times, and that makes me happy. So
That's good to know. Anything else?
nope, that's me.
All right, Rodance. What you got for us? Feedback, outro-y comments? If you're
It's been a long week.
Oh, there we go.
It has been a long week and it's only Wednesday.
We don't even have. Okay, so I'm glad that we get to play because it gives my brain a break. Because I'm gonna have to go back to work after this because I still have another hour worth of keying stuff into systems for work.
Ew.
So
That's ill. Ew. I'm sorry to hear that. I really am.
yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty full ick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad you did get like a little bit of a break, if nothing else. Even though, again, your character didn't get a whole lot of interaction time tonight as well.
But it's already tomorrow. How are you doing work today if it's tomorrow?
I'm salary.
Ew. That has got so much ick on it. The caveat on what Warner just said.
Okay. I looked at the clock and I got done with the stuff that I had to be done by a certain time, like early today. So I took a nice leisurely dinner break, and then I decided went to do some keyboard stuff, and then I decided I was going to take another break, and then we had our game, and now I need to go put in another hour or two of work to round out my day.
Okie dokie.
Well, best of luck.
Salary work is great until it isn't.
Yeah.
That's kind of just the way it is, and it also very much depends on exactly how evil your boss is.
Yeah.
Oh. You got anything else, Rodance?
Nah.
All right.
Not today.
Alterios, what do you got? Again, you didn't get a lot of interaction, except you had one of your bobbleheads bobble for you.
Yeah, it was fun.
I hope you appreciate your
It went
your
bobbing
little...
for Crystal.
Yeah, I hope you appreciate your Shadowrun-based personal area network.
I listed it on my thing as Mechanicus Rock plus 20.
Mechanicus Rock plus 20. Fuck it. I mean, it works. Listen, when the time comes and you're like, ooh, I got this Mechanicus Rock plus 20. What does it do? And I'll be like, fuck if I remember. What are you about to do? I'm about to do Mechanicus-y things. Fuck it, plus 20.
So that'll be neat. And then adding it on with the because it all stacks, right? So the Mechadendrite, if there's a tech roll that comes up with like ship stuff, I could roll that It's like a plus 30.
What do you mean our
penalty.
engines evaporated in that plasma fire? Hold on, let me make a roll real quick. Oh, look, we have engines all of a sudden.
I found them. They were just floating back there.
Yeah.
And
All I know
you
is
haven't
when
even
he said Mechanicus rock, I thought of like pirate rock, but with candles and
With candles
binary
and
noises.
floating robot babies.
Well, I thought of Fraggle Rock, so
Ooh, Fraggle Rock. There's a callback. Holy shit. That's mid
You're welcome.
80s right there.
It's been a minute since I've seen Fraggle Rock.
That's like
Worries
40
for
something years.
another day. Let the music play.
Oh my
Down
god.
in Fraggle Rock.
Don't.
Oh my god. Those little bastards that would eat the little construction things. Because wasn't there like 2 different societies of Fraggle Rock? There was like the little Muppets, and then there was like the super little guys that were always building shit, but the Muppets were always eating like their construction beams. You know what I mean?
So. It's been
I can't be the only one that remembers that detail.
you have surpassed my Fraggle lore.
Oh god, I am so fucking... Chat, am I cooked? I actually got to use that line live. I will never do that again.
Maybe.
Darius!
The answer is maybe.
Darius, help me, man. I'm floundering over here. What do you got for feedback and stuff?
Good session. I'm glad I got at least one of the items off my list.
Yeah.
And hopefully there will be more interaction next time.
Well, next time includes most likely a jaunt into the warp, so we'll see how that works out for everybody. You may get more than you want. You may get none. I don't know. It could, the pendulum swings wide, my friend. The pendulum swings wide.
Yeah, not that kind of interaction.
Listen, be careful what you wish for. You just might get it.
You know, if we make this dinner thing into a whole big thing, we might be able to be on footfall for another week and get another.
Yeah, but you're still only putting off the inevitable jaunt into the warp. You realize that, right?
Yeah, and we're getting better stuff for the...
At some point, you have to move the story forward.
Well, yeah, and we're getting XP every week, too.
Yeah, well, that's going to start.
Speaking of...
Yes, 200.
200?
Experience.
200. Woot.
100 for my 2 NPCs. Rev.
Wait, I have unexpected experience again?
Shocker.
Score.
Rev, what do you got for feedback, outro-y comments?
It's a bit of a holdover from a couple weeks ago, but I did want to clarify. You've given us 2 very different interpretations of what happened with Fel's distant relative. One was he was so angry that his relative had been captured, he immediately shot the messenger, and the other is that he didn't care anything about him whatsoever.
Okay, so that is a fair point, and now I got to remember what is the final answer on that. So I think what the audience would see if this were a TV show is that he would have been quite disturbed and upset, but not necessarily over losing his family member, but losing the Lady Ash, and that's why the messenger was shot. Now, you guys would not know any of that had happened, of course, as I recall.
Right, we wouldn't, but like, I said over the table something, and your response is, oh, he didn't care about him at all.
Yeah, I think the more accurate statement was he was more concerned about losing the more valuable of the 2 assets that he saw there. That being Lady Ash, of course, because Psyker.
Yeah. Just wanted a clarification.
Sure. Now, if you ask me something like that in 6 weeks, I'm going to have a totally different answer because I'm not going to remember what I said tonight.
Oh, I'll remind you.
I'm sure you will, you son of a bitch.
Oh no, my 3rd cousin.
Oh no, my 3rd cousin and the Psyker? Fuck you! Blam!
Well, if someone killed one of my cousins, I would very much be not happy about it.
But if someone killed your Psyker...
But what if you wanted to get rid of him anyway?
If somebody killed your Psyker, how would you feel?
Well, it was interesting to learn that we have 2 separate houses.
Were you thinking there was only one?
I was for sure there was at least one, but that both houses were interested in the same thing was knowledge we did not previously have. It would be very easy for forgive me, but I'm forgetting the house you just made up and haven't even come up with their sigil yet.
House Hannah is not just made up, but in your defense, you are right that I had not yet made their symbol.
Like I said, just made up. But so I will try to remember House Hannah, but I actually had interesting plans for House Hannah.
Hannah or House Fell?
Oh, House Fell is a different plan.
Okay. Just let it be known, one of them was known to have come through within the last month. The other one, they haven't seen anything about in quite some time.
Yeah.
All right.
Exterminatus on his planet.
We're gonna go find a whole bunch of heretical shit, leave it on their planet, and call the Inquisition. That's some Rogue Trader bullshit right there. That is it for us here tonight, my friends. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you enjoyed the video if you're watching on YouTube. If you do, please, of course, hit the like button, the subscribe button, the share button, the other buttons, all the buttons. Most importantly, in the description to this video...
Muffin button?
No, shush. In the description of this video is the link for our Discord server. By all means, please come hang out and talk with us and chit-chat with us and tell us how we're doing. Or even, better yet, tell us how we're screwing everything up that you believe is the way it's supposed to be in the Warhammer 40k universe, because I've been known to make mistakes multiple times. At any rate, thanks for stopping by and hanging out. So, that is it. Stay safe out there, my friends. This world is a grimdark world, so make sure you are doing what you have to do to take care of you and yours. And as for me and mine, we're out of here. See you next time. Have a good one.
Laters.